The playoffs are just 5 races away. Johnny Sauter, he's going to do it. Win at Charlotte. Sauter wins at Dover for the 5th time at Texas. Everything's coming up. Brett Moffitt is going to win at Chicagoland. Wins at Atlanta, but has done it in front of the hometown fans. Noah Gragson victorious. Justin Haley, for the first time in his career, is a Truck Series winner.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Well, those winners are breathing easier knowing they're going to the playoffs, but there's still some spots left as you see who's it going to be. Maybe somebody adds their name to the list tonight. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at Kentucky Speedway, and what a great evening we have for it. Great to have you with us with Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick. I'm Vince Welch. Kevin, great to have you with us tonight. Look forward to seeing you in the Cup car later this weekend here at Kentucky. You know, this is the 7th race on the 1.5 mile for the trucks this season, but every 1.5 mile seems to be a little bit unique. What makes this one different?
Well, this one's very unique just for the fact that they've redone the racetrack. It's got brand new asphalt. They put more banking in turns 1 and 2. But turn 3 is the same old Kentucky turn 3. It's flat. You have to be wide on the entry to get it to the bottom of the racetrack, and you have to run your truck really loose to make it turn in the center of the corner. Well, as you see in qualifying, Matt Crafton, really loose when he goes to turn down. Myatt Snyder, really loose, wrecked his truck when he went to turn down. But as you're coming into this corner, you look at the exit, Mike, and there's a whole bunch of banking out there. So it's just, you know you have to get back in the throttle, but sometimes that happens.
And you know, that's all by yourself, Vince. They're going down to the corner with the whole
They're not going to
track.
be by themselves later.
No, they're not. When they throw this green flag here in a bit, they're going to be 2, 3, even 4 wide. And if you're starting up front like Noah Gragson, you're like, bring on the green, baby. I'm going to be in clear air. I'm going to have the bottom of the road, and I'm going to town. But just in row 2, Chris Eggleston in this 17 truck, he's going to have his work cut out for him. Can he get to the bottom, and how wide will they get when they get to turn 1?
Yeah, I mean, as if the restarts and the start of the race aren't crazy enough. It's really going to be crazy if you happen to be in the wrong lane tonight trying to get to the spot that's going to help you get through turn 1.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command from the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. Please welcome law enforcement liaison from Northern Kentucky, Troy Dye.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines are roaring and we're getting ready. 32 drivers and some Kentucky crazy coming your way next.
In a region known for horsepower, NASCAR comes to Kentucky on a Thursday night.
3 wide back here on a 1-lane racetrack.
Oh, contact.
Oh, and there's the caution. Problems. Huge hit for Kennedy. The 11 up on the safer barrier.
He wins at Kentucky. It's a beautiful Thursday night at Kentucky Speedway, and we're getting ready to go trucks racing. Been truck racing here since 2000 each and every year. This is the 21st truck race here at Kentucky Speedway in Sparta, Kentucky. Let's take a look at our Camping World track description. Kevin?
Well, this is a very unique racetrack, and 1 and 2 we talked about earlier was the banking added at 17 degrees. Turns 3 and 4 still the same, flat entry, and I bet you that 14 degrees is measured on the exit. But front straightaways 8 to 10 degrees of banking. Back stretch is pretty much flat, and the straightaways are about 1,600 feet, Mike.
Yeah, you enter those corners, and it's a hairy ride, I'll tell you that. Let's look at the Shell Rotella race analysis. You can see 150 laps, 225 miles. Our stages are 35 laps each. And our pit wait is about 50 to 55 laps. It'll be interesting to see with this new pavement what strategy some of these crew chiefs use in order to get to victory lane like Christopher Bell did in 2017.
Well, as we take a look at our starting lineups, keep in mind that the winner the last 3 years has come from the top 3 starters. So that would include Gregson and Gilliland and Ben Rhodes, those 3 guys. But I'll tell you what, if I'm Chris Eggleston, I'm pretty excited about the way my day has unfolded as well.
Oh, I'm so happy about what I've accomplished, and now I'm worried to death about how I'm going to be able to get through the first turn, Vince.
Dalton Sargent with a good qualifying effort, and Cody Coughlin. How about Austin Hill? And another great job coming off that 9th place finish a couple of weeks ago at Chicago.
Stuart Friesen will have to drop to the back. We talked about that. Austin Wayne Self. John Hunter Nemechek, another truck going to the back. 2 guys that could win this race along with Matt Crafton. They're going to start out back.
Robbie Lyons, Tyler Matthews back there in row 12. And Michael, you mentioned Matt Crafton. Crafton had a huge moment coming through 3 and 4 in qualifying, and that's why he will start back in the 30th position. And Myatt Snyder, his teammate, crashed in qualifying, had to go to the backup truck, and that's why he starts at the tail. How about these onboard looks?
Let's look at the Ford onboard camera here with Ben Rhodes, one of the favorites, Kentucky boy, to win this race tonight. And you see on his visor there, the visor cam. This is going to give us intense views of what exactly it's like to try to squeeze your way down into turn 1 without getting spun out, and that's a real possibility here at Kentucky.
Well, the 18 truck doesn't have anything to worry about. Not only has Noah Gragson been fast all year, but he's going to take us for a ride tonight at Kentucky Motor Speedway. So this view should be fast.
Fast from the front. That's always the best. Hey, you know, in the Cup Series, we kind of had the big 3. We've talked about it during the course of the season. You 3, you, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, you guys have been dominant throughout the course of the season, and that's pretty cool for you. And we kind of got the same thing going in the Truck Series.
Well, it is cool, and you definitely want to be a part of that group, and you want to be the one that's winning races, and you know, you don't get to do that every year. So, you know, I think at this particular point, with the way that the racing and the points are now, you want to be one of those guys, because that means you're not only are you winning, but you're scoring playoff points, bonus points for the playoffs. And to me, that's the most important thing, because you're protecting yourself.
Yeah, Kevin, what does that exactly feel like, being that guy?
It feels really good, Mike.
I bet it does.
Really good.
Here's our truckers that are in the same situation, and I know Justin Haley has won races in the playoffs, but these guys have more than double the playoff points than anyone else. So they're putting themselves in a position not only to be in the playoffs, but to be the champion. And so if you want to perform, if you want to be considered a favorite for the championship, you got to perform like these 3 are.
Let's get a quick one more final thought from pit road, beginning with Hermie.
Well, Vince, Michael mentioned Justin Haley. He won at Gateway. He'll race for a championship. But it was his move at Daytona in the Xfinity Series race. He didn't get the win, but he said the feedback and the confirmation he got from his peers in this sport kind of confirmed what he already knew, that he can get it done at this top level. We'll see if he can carry that momentum towards racing for a championship later this year, Caitlin.
Well, as we heard Kevin talking about, Noah Gragson has had speed all season long, led laps in every single race except for one. On the flip side of that, only has 1 win to show for it. Talking with Noah earlier today, he said this, despite the challenges of this racetrack, he feels pretty comfortable, but he says, I need to work on knowing what adjustments to make to this truck in order to have one there to contend for more wins in that column, guys.
Well, and Noah's crew chief, Rudy Fugle, has been the winning crew chief each of the last 2 years with Christopher Bell, and then in 2016 with William Byron. So if there's anybody that can get Gragson back to victory lane, especially here at Kentucky, Rudy Fugle's a pretty good choice.
Well, he's the best in the series and has been for a couple years now, and I think that's the fastest truck, and Noah's got to figure out how to put that truck where it needs to be to capitalize on those fast truck and win more races.
We talked earlier about the bottom line being so important. You saw in the front row there, Noah Gregson's up on the outside. Why would that be if it's so important? We're getting ready to see the old switcheroo, Vince. When they get down toward turn 1, the Ford truck will let the 18 in, I believe.
Well, the 18 of Noah Gragson, the pole winner for the 4th time this season. He'll start on the outside. That's his teammate, the rookie Todd Gilliland, on the inside. The green flag is waving at Kentucky. We're racing.
We saw all those trucks kind of run into each other there as they got on the start there. Have to see if anybody had any damage, but that happens a lot at Kentucky because the restart zone just seems to be so far down the straightaway.
Now Brandon Jones
got a spinner.
got one in the wall already. And that's the 83 of Bailey Curry, or excuse me, Tyler Matthews in the 83. So didn't get through the first lap, and already we've got one in the wall and the caution out early.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've talked about all day, how difficult it's going to be for these guys to sort it out when they get down in the corner. That bottom has been the talk of the garage area. Everybody wants to be glued right to the bottom.
And right now you have no choice but to be too wide.
So frustrating for Matthews, just his third start. How about from the start?
Kevin, you talked about it. You can see it's just a really slow start. Gregson brought him down really slow, and it bunched everyone up. I don't know if this led to the problem, but you can see Matt Crafton's up on the outside already.
Just in front of Crafton in that neon yellow is Matthews. So keep an eye on Matthews there as Crafton is going around the outside of him. John Hunter Nemechek inside, maybe a little bit of contact there, and Matthews just couldn't gather it up.
Yeah, and I don't think that had anything to do with the racetrack, Mike. It looked like John Hunter just went down low. Here we see the restart again, and like I say, that restart zone is just so close to the start-finish line at this particular racetrack, and little contact there, and just very inviting to be three wide,
and you can see the front few rows working out. Eccleston's up on the outside, but had a nice run off turn 2. But in the back, I think it's just a situation where Matthews just didn't know John Hunter was on the bottom. They were three wide in the corner. He probably got cleared, but didn't understand that there was one more down below him, and they made contact, and around he went.
Yeah, and there's two drastic opinions on what should happen at the start here. John Hunter wants to go, and you know, some people just want to survive. So John Hunter's going to the front, and we had a little contact there.
And Tyler Matthews, his night derailed. Getting ready for the restart. First lap incident involving the 83 of Tyler Matthews.
Yeah, and I just don't think he knew John Hunter was down there, and just wound up getting a little tap from the 8 and got really lucky there at the end that wreck didn't wind up being a lot worse.
Wow. We talked there, you see a little bit of damage to the left front of John Hunter's truck as well. We talked at the start of the race how Gregson took the top and his teammate basically let him in the corner. The same thing's going to happen here, but it's the job of Todd Gilliland not to let that inside row get a run down on the inside of him. Protect his teammate.
Back racing, Gilliland inside and Gregson outside, and there will be Gregson come back down to the bottom, just as Michael explained. Down on that yellow line and that inside preferred groove.
Yeah, and I don't think the outside is going to be a real problem there in turns 1 and 2 on the outside. This is where it's going to start to get tricky down here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's why Todd really needed to hold his position down in 1 and 2 so he could try to battle back in 3 and 4. But Ben Rhodes with a nice job on the outside, keeping up with Gilliland.
Rhodes, the Louisville native, is so glad to be racing here at Kentucky Speedway this weekend. Gets an opportunity to stay at home with the family and sleep in his own bed, eat breakfast at the kitchen table like always, and wheel it on Thursday night, and you ride with him here.
When I drove with Ben Rhodes at Junior Motorsports, he ran some of the races in the same car I was running, and we came to Kentucky and he was like a celebrity. And everybody knew him. He was on radio shows, and he just had so much enthusiasm for coming to the Kentucky Motor Speedway and wanting so much to do well, and you see that carry over into everything he's done in the last couple of years as well.
And that's what I love about the truck series. I mean, we talk about Ben Rhodes and his enthusiasm. He's right behind 18-year-old Todd Gilliland, who's trying to figure out how to get to victory lane to make the playoffs. And just behind them, Chris Eggleston in that 17 truck. He's been the story today. A lot of speed, qualified well. This 17 truck looks like it's capable of winning.
Yeah, and I tell you, the one thing that will be interesting to see if it continues to happen all night that we were talking about in qualifying, his truck really hugged that yellow line through 3 and 4, and I think as the run goes on throughout the night, the trucks are going to start to get tighter through the middle of 3 and 4, and whoever can hold that line the longest, that's where you're going to be able to make the most passes.
Eggleston driving that 17 for Gilliland Crosley, David Gilliland and Bo Lamastus, the owners of that team. Stuart Friesen trying to make his way to the front in that 52 truck, had to start at the tail after a late engine change. How's it going for him, Hermie?
Under pressure right now from John Hunter Nemechek. Now, these drivers want the sun that's still currently peeking over the grandstands here at Kentucky Speedway to go down behind that grandstand. Number one, they think they'll get more grip, but Stewart Friesen has already made a couple comments about how difficult the sun is entering turn 3 and parts of turns 3 and 4. One more battle that he does not want to fight, trying to make his way to the front.
Well, and those two guys on the charge, John Hunter Nemechek and Stewart Friesen, they don't let up for anything. If you don't get out of their way, they're going to move you out of the way, and they are aggressive and they are on the move.
This is a guy that's on the move, Vince. Look at that. Matt Crafton. Talked to him earlier today. He said, we got a really fast truck. I feel confident about what we have this evening. He's already moved from near the back of the pack where he started up to the 11th spot, knocking on a position in the top 10. And that 88 truck looks stout.
And he needs to be stout, Mike. You know, they've had some tough finishes, and you know, you look at Matt Crafton and you expect him and his experience and the experience of the team and the organization and everybody to make up for an off day and sneak a top 5 out, but they've had some bad luck, they've had some things happen, and he needs a good night.
The 13 of Myatt Snyder, you saw he was on the move behind Friesen, as well as the 51 of Brandon Jones gets around Eggleston, and now Grant Enfinger challenging Eggleston as well. Enfinger really has been the most consistent driver in the ThorSport camp. Maybe not the speed that Ben Rhodes has shown, but Enfinger just seems to be there week after week after week, right around the top 10.
Yeah, and I think that's experience, and I think, you know, he has raced for a long time, and I think when you look at the 41 of Ben Rhodes, he has definitely been the fastest, and that whole team has kind of been off just a little bit, but they've had a lot to transfer through in manufacturer change.
Parker Kligerman here in the 75.
You could see just barely Vince slipped up out of the groove and into the wall he went. That's how tough this racetrack is. But Parker, a solid effort here early.
He just scratched it, Mike.
Yeah, that doesn't count, does it?
Nah, he's got a green scratch on the right rear of that nice looking black truck.
And Kevin, your experience here, if you're moving like you see Crafton moving and Kligerman with a really fast truck here early in the race, does that necessarily mean that you're going to be strong all night long? Will this track transition go through a change?
Well, it will definitely go through a change, because right here you see turn 4 and you see that shadow about a third of the way off of turn 4 covering the racetrack. And as that temperature goes down, there will just become more grip for the whole truck. The front tires will start to turn better, and you'll see some of the guys come forward right here and you'll think, man, they're going to be the truck to beat. And then it will get completely dark and it'll be a whole cast of new characters. But Noah Gragson, he's probably going to have it figured out, sunny or dark.
Some big name drivers making their way from the back toward the front. Noah Gragson isn't going anywhere. He's led them all so far. Taking a break, but you won't miss a lap. We're going to keep on trucking.
All week we work. We clock in, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. And when Friday comes, we all get to raise
when they take the green, there will be 10 to go.
A little hell.
Watch your back, Cole.
Easy.
Toyota, let's go places.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The celebration of American pastime.
The best of the best go head-to-head. On the biggest night of the summer, the stars of the league, they're all here for an unforgettable show. The MLB All-Star Game, Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
What goes around comes around. And as a sport that races in laps, we know that a clean race pays off in the finish. It's why NASCAR commits to green programs and biofuel, like Sunoco Green E15, so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
19 laps into this 35-lap first stage, and Noah Gragson has led them all so far. Matt Crafton started 30. Oh, Cody Coughlin way up on the wall with a handful of wheel.
Coughlin was running in the top 10 and dropping all the way back to 14th with that slip and slide. And there's Brett Moffitt looking to the bottom, trying to go too wide down into turn 3. That scares me, Kevin.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get the entrance right, because I feel like the higher that you are, the earlier that you have to let off, but the less room you have to work with. And once you get out of that black stuff, it's hard to get the truck back. And the hardest thing to get back is your confidence going into the next corner to make sure, did I have a flat tire? Is there something wrong with my truck? Did it break? It just didn't feel right there. But he'll get his confidence back and go forward again.
And that's when you really need your spotter, you know, to give you that information. You know, anybody that's gotten up that high has gotten loose. Don't worry about it, buddy. Keep your head in the game. Your spotter becomes your biggest cheerleader, especially on a track like this where conditions are so tough. You can see Ben Rhodes there in the 41. He's gaining ground on our leader, Noah Gragson. Check this view out, man. Tell people that's exactly what it feels like, right, Kevin?
It is, and you know, I think as you look at this view, the most important thing to look at are the hands. And when you look at those hands and you see them chopping back to the right or chopping to the left, you've got a problem. When you see somebody go down the corner and just make little subtle moves, that's when you know that things are going good. But right now, Ben's going in the corner, and this, I believe, for the trucks is the easier end on the racetrack, and you're going to see his hands work a little bit harder when he gets down to turn 3.
You know, you talked about how hard turn 3 is. How about let's drive it half blind as well. Watch him as he drives into the sun, how his view is really obstructed right there when the track is just at its toughest.
Yeah, and right there he had a lap truck to deal with as well. So he knew he was getting ready to come into the sun. A lot of these guys will run sun visors. I didn't see if Ben had one on before he got in the truck, but they'll run a little visor that comes down in order to block the sun until it goes away.
Look at him eating that lead up. I know there's some lap trucks ahead of Gragson there, and they're side by side, by the way. But man, he closed in a hurry, hasn't he?
That was slowing up Gragson. That's Robbie Lyons in the white truck just ahead of him in the 15. So allowed Ben Rhodes to pull up now less than a half second behind Gragson. The closest Rhodes has been in quite some time. See, we're coming up on 10 to go here in the final, or in the first stage. Stage 1, 35 laps. Stage 2, 35 laps. And then the third and final stage will go 80.
And the hardest thing about a racetrack like this, where you know it's line sensitive and you know you can't make a mistake to get too far out of the groove because it'll make you pay, is trying to navigate lap traffic. You see the guy and you try to have a plan. All right, I'm going to get to him by the time I get to turn 3, right at the entrance of the corner. So I need to let off a little bit early, let him get to the center of the corner and try to time it so that I have a little more room to work with in the middle of the racetrack. But Ben Rhodes has cut it down to nothing.
Got Rhodes on the left challenging Gragson for the lead, and on the right-hand side of the screen, Matt Crafton continuing to make his way through. Crafton started 30th after a huge moment in qualifying, and it took him 14 laps to get inside to the top 10, and currently Crafton runs 8th.
Yeah, and Johnny Sauter slipped back to the 10th position, and we know Johnny Sauter is a top 10 stage finishing machine. That's in jeopardy right now.
Rhodes really closed up on the 18 of Gragson now for the lead.
And here's the difference. You see that truck length lower in turn 3 and 4, and we talked about it to start the race. That's how you're going to make a pass. And Noah Gragson's truck is getting tight in the middle of 3 and 4 down there, and Ben Rhodes is able to just not only get his nose in the air because he's turning better, but have a better line on the bottom of the racetrack and hold his truck right against that yellow line. But you see Noah fight back on the outside.
What about the confidence Gragson showed entering on the outside in turn 1 and holding the lead? That was a strong move. That tells you how important these playoff points are to these drivers. Rhodes is doing everything he can to get one away from Gragson, And Gregson says, not so easily, bud.
A lot on the line for Rhodes. Not only is it a hometown race for him, which obviously would be important, but he's on the bubble in regards to the playoffs too, so he can't afford a disastrous night and at the same time wants to have the huge night in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, but Vince, I tell you, one playoff point, you know, for a stage win is a big deal because every playoff point matters, and this, you know, only having 3 races in each round of the playoffs, having a little bit of a buffer there, I guess you could say, makes you feel a lot better about things and makes you feel like you can be more aggressive. So he wants to win this stage.
These guys have been going at it. Watch the 17 of Chris Eggleston. He, on the high side, you can see Matt Crafton slips to the bottom, maybe puts the bumper to him a bit. He's able to open the door there. And then they split Norm Benning 3 wide. And Stuart Friesen says, hey guys, I want to join this party. Looks fun.
Friesen is all out all the time, isn't he?
I tell you, you know, and Stuart Friesen has been really fast this year. And, you know, you look at a move like that, that's really aggressive, but it also put his truck in a position where he could have got the right front fender tore off right there. And we've seen him make some mistakes with a really, really fast truck. And we heard Hermie talk about it at the beginning of the race. You got to figure out what to do with those fast trucks to take care of them to make sure you're around at the end of the race to win.
John Hunter finally takes that position away. That's the battle for the 12th spot with Chris Eggleston. Justin Haley just ahead of these two. That was intense.
Only 4 laps remaining here in this first stage. The 54, Bo LeMastus, in peril of going a lap down as the leader, Noah Gragson, stalks him.
And he wants to do everything he can to stay on the lead lap, because if he's the lucky dog, he winds up having to start at the back of the field instead of, you know, going all the way around to the back of the field and pitting with the lead lap truck. So he's going to fight all he can to try to stay on the lead lap right here.
That's going to be a tough job with those fast trucks hounding him, but Bo's an energetic guy. I know he's fighting. Oh, look at this.
Gragson got caught up, lost a little momentum because of LeMastus, and Rhodes took advantage, pounced on Gragson, but Gragson isn't giving it up. Yes, Rhodes finally closes the door. Ben Rhodes to the lead.
And that tells you how important that stage point is and how much this racetrack means to Ben Rhodes.
And you saw the finger pointing to the inside. Rhodes was saying, I'm coming over, buddy. And I think Noah Gragson had to decide whether he was going to leave his nose in there or not.
Normally that's not what the finger means, is it? Oh, a different thing. I got you now.
And look at Bo LeMastus still hanging in there. Said, just give me 2 laps, boys. I want to stay on the lead lap.
Well, the exciting thing to me is the fact that second groove is there, especially through 1 and 2. We've seen it through 3 and 4, and I think that'll get better as the night goes, and especially as it gets cooler and the track starts to gain a little more grip.
So Rhodes maneuvers past LeMastus and puts the 54 a lap down.
What a stage for Ben Rhodes. Exactly what the hometown boy needed. Tough start to the 2018 season. He's hanging right in there on the playoff cutoff line. This is a great run.
Coming off a second place finish most recently at Chicagoland Speedway, his best run of the season. And Ben Rhodes collects his 3rd stage win of the season. He's the stage 1 winner here at his home track in Kentucky.
And Johnny Sauter held on for another top 10 finish in the stage.
Here's that finger you were talking about. There it is out there. I'm coming down. I'm coming down. Please let me come down.
I think that's what he meant.
Stage 1 complete, and you're riding along with the stage 1 winner. Ben Rhodes made that great pass of Noah Gragson in the late laps of the first stage to take the stage 1 victory. You see the others in the top 10, including Johnny Sauter, who always just seems to find a way.
Tonight it was tight, though. He was really battling for that top 10 and those 2 stage points that he earned.
And that playoff point would be a difference maker later in the season, as we mentioned. Right now, Ben Rhodes coming into this race on the playoff bubble.
How about the Camping World Truck Series? They got it right, don't they? Look at all the campers that have turned out at the Kentucky Speedway. That place is, the infield is packed, and They're ringing the outside of this racetrack. It's a beautiful scene.
Absolutely gorgeous day today, all day long, with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, but the humidity tolerable and a nice breeze just to keep things bearable, and a good summer day in the Midwest.
I think Noah's going to have to make some adjustments to his truck, Mike. What do you think?
I believe so too, but you know, the track she will be a changing as well, so that could play in their hands. And who do you want on that box other than Rudy Fugle to figure all that equation out?
That's the guy.
Coming to pit road for the first time tonight, Ben Rhodes is leading them down there. Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland, Brandon Jones, all in there, coming to pit road to get some adjustments, and Hermie Sadler's waiting.
Vince, the 51 of Brandon Jones, when he's by himself on the racetrack, it is a number 2 tight. When he's in traffic, he goes to a number 4 tight. It's going to be 2 right side tires and a wedge adjustment. They want the 51 to get some track position. Kayla.
Well, looking at Ben Rhodes, the stage 1 winner in the middle of your screen, he was just telling his team it started out a little bit snug, but overall I feel like the balance is good. They're going to go ahead and make an air pressure adjustment. Right sides for the 41. Noah Gragson at the bottom of your screen just saying tight through the center for him. Also right sides for Noah.
What do you think about all those 2-tire decisions? Kevin,
Well,
is that the right way to go? It looks like it's unanimous nearly.
Yeah, I think as many guys that put 2 tires on, it's going to keep you in check with the rest of the field. You know, if I was Noah Gragson, and I would have wanted 4 tires because it looked like his truck was really tight. And typically, when you put 2 tires on, you get tighter. But typically, when it gets dark at Kentucky Motor Speedway, it gets looser. So we'll just have to see where it goes when the sun goes down. But it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Guys going to work on pit road, and watch this. You talk about tight quarters. Woo! Back at Kentucky Speedway, in between stages 1 and 2, Ben Rhodes, the Louisville native, very fittingly was the stage 1 winner. Love it when the race fans come out and wear their racing shirts. Hey, the Hall of Fame, speaking of the Hall of Fame, congratulations to your brother Daryl, inducted into the Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame this week.
Yeah, I'm so happy for Daryl. He was inducted with Muhammad Ali, one of both of our heroes growing up, and Daryl has just meant so much to NASCAR in Kentucky, and it's so fitting that he was inducted this week. So congratulations, big brother. I love you.
Pretty good company, that's for sure.
That shirt was perfect because we're going to Eldora next week. I mean, that couldn't get any better than that, right?
Looking forward to it. Well, the pace car's off, and we're getting ready for the restart here to begin stage 2. That's Ben Rhodes in the green truck on the outside, the stage 1 winner, and Noah Gragson, the pole winner, on the inside. And the green's out. We're racing.
Wow, nice start by Gragson. He's able to grab the lead away from Rhodes.
He got a great push by Brandon Jones there into turn 1. And for Gragson, I believe that's a good thing, because I still don't think his truck's going to handle as good as the 41. But you talked about that top side getting into 3. We saw him get a little bit loose right there as he tried to, Ben Rhodes tried to turn down.
Friesen and Enfinger side by side for 4th.
Yeah, and Friesen again creeping into the picture, right? Another great run early for this team. Wow, look at this mess.
Sauter in the red and white 21 trying to make his way up. That's Justin Haley in front of him. And then in the neon 88, the only former Kentucky winner in the field tonight, Matt Crafton, won here in 2015.
John Hunter down on the inside of Parker Kligerman, slides him up the hill. So John Hunter continues his march toward the front, completes that pass.
And I'm interested to see what happens with Dalton Sargent here. He put 4 tires on. So in my opinion, he's got some more options when he goes to the end of this stage to put 2 tires on when everybody else might have to put 4 tires on. But I'm interested to see if he makes any ground right here as we get a little bit later into this run.
What about that guy in the 88 making ground? He's on the inside barely of Johnny Sauter there. Man, that truck looks good, Caitlin. Is he happy with it?
Right now, I just checked in with his crew chief, Junior Joyner. He said he is, and he certainly has been moving methodically through the field since the start of this race. But But talking with his crew chief, he has said it's been such a transition year for this team with the manufacturer change. He said all the setups that we had so much success with at all these racetracks, nothing seems to work for us anymore. But he said we are both so passionate about this, and is not from a lack of trying. So Kevin, what is that like exactly when you go through a change like that with a manufacturer? What kind of undertaking is that for a team?
It's a huge undertaking, and when we did the exact same thing at Stewart-Haas Racing when we went from Chevrolet to Ford. And you think about it from a fan's perspective, you're like, well, you just changed the body. Well, no, we changed the body, and then we put the engine in, and none of the engine mounts fit. And then when we got the engine where it was supposed to be, none of the steering worked. So we had to make all new steering components. So it was just one problem after another. And then you add in the NT1 engine, and all your setups and all your aero balance, everything about the truck is going to be different. So you have to almost learn again. And really the most important thing is forget what you did, because what you did doesn't work, and you don't need to dwell on it. You just need to come up with something new.
You can see we're on board with Ben Rhodes again, and that's Brandon Jones just ahead of him. Jones had a really solid truck, Vince, all throughout practice. A lot of the garage area was talking about the speed of the 51. He's been able to hold off Ben Rhodes, and there you see Stuart Friesen and Enfinger behind him. But just like in stage one, Kevin, the 18 truck of Noah Gragson has driven away early. It'll be interesting to see if the crew chief Rudy Fugle and the team made the right changes to that truck so it has more staying power and doesn't lose all of its speed at the end of the stage.
It will be interesting because that 41 still has the advantage even on the 51 truck right there. He's still a half a lane lower than the 51 truck, and that just pays a huge benefit for him as he goes through the run, as we see Matt Crafton pass Johnny Sauter.
A couple of former series champs. Crafton moving into the 8th spot. Crafton and Junior Joyner, as Caitlin reported, they're not giving up, that's for sure. And it seems as though the last couple of weeks we've seen a little more speed from that 88. And tonight, as he had to come all the way from the 30th starting spot, he has been on the march.
You mentioned it earlier about John Hunter Nemechek really hustling that truck, and you can see it now, Vince, as he's made an adjustment. I think the 8 has come to life as well, from the back all the way up inside the top 10, and I just think that that truck looks to be very stable for John Hunter, and if that's the case, he'll push it hard.
Well, John Hunter last year led in the second half of this race here at Kentucky, ended up having a flat with about 15 laps to go and finished 18th, but it wasn't indicative of how strong he was during the course of the race. And with Noah Gragson being up front, he's led 39 of the 50 laps. This has been a part of the race where they have been consistently good all season long, through the first stage and really through about midway part of the second stage. But it's then been from that point to the end of the race that they have struggled. Is that a youth thing, or is that a communication thing? What are the issues that lead to being unable to close?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think one, it's communication from the driver to the crew chief as to what that driver wants and what Noah needs to tell Rudy, hey, this is what the racetrack's doing, and keeping up with the track and the setups. Second thing is, I think he's just made some mistakes. You know, I think you look back at Dover when he's racing with Johnny Sauter, and you know, he got on the inside and he could have finished second and still raced him really hard. So we've had a couple of instances like that. But I believe that Noah's team, I believe he has the best trucks and the most experienced crew chief. He's just got to figure out how to make less mistakes with it and win more races.
Got to remember, too, he's just 19 years old.
Yeah, you have to get the experience. There's only one way to learn, and that's, you know, put your feet to the fire and make things happen. But I promise you, that guy's sitting on the pit box. He's made a lot of these young kids look good, but he's also made, they've also learned a heck of a lot from Kyle Busch and Rudy Fugle. You look at William Byron and the guys who have driven Rudy's trucks. You know, they come in and they make a lot of mistakes, but by the time that they're done and they get to the end of the year, they're championship contenders, and they are well groomed for what they need to do to win a championship in the Truck Series and usually move on.
And Gragson, even though he's won just once this season, a lot of racing left until we get to Homestead, and they believe they're still going to be a championship contender in South Florida. Noah Gragson has had the dominant truck tonight. He's led 48 of the 59 laps, but he did not win stage one. He was passed just prior to the end of stage one by that green and white truck driven by Ben Rhodes. Right now, Rhodes has his sights set on the white 51 of Brandon Jones.
But Jones has been able to drive away a bit, Kevin. We saw Rhodes all over the back of Jones. Jones opened up a few truck lengths advantage over Rhodes, and they began again to start to cut into that lead of Gregson's as the tires heat up and they run consecutive laps under green. It looks like maybe both Brandon Jones and Ben Rhodes are faster than Gregson.
Well, I think what's really going to tell the story is when Noah catches lap traffic, because it seemed like he struggled in lap traffic a lot last time because it seemed like his truck was tight. Maybe they made it better, but you know, I think we'll find out when he catches traffic.
Todd Gilliland currently sits in the 6th position in that 4 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Caitlin?
Yeah, Vincent, it is Todd's very first time here, and talking with him earlier today, he said he felt like this place definitely had its share of challenges compared to the other 1.5 mile racetracks he has been to so far this season. But the feedback he has given to the team recently, free on entry, tight from center to exit for the 4 truck. Hermie.
Caitlin, early today I got a chance to speak with Chris Eggleston about racing in the Camping World Truck Series and racing at Kentucky Speedway in particular. This is his first time to this racetrack, and he was very candid about how much he has to learn. Well, they started 4th, and he's back now just outside the top 10, right now in 15th. The truck is too tight. They put 4 tires on. They're trying to get him to work on his entry into the corner. They think a later arc into the corner would really help his exit. But as a driver learning these trucks and this racetrack, it's just taking him a little bit longer to get the feel for what he needs to do behind the wheel.
And that's interesting, you know, and some of these young drivers, Eggleston included, in the path that they come up through the ranks, whether it's K&N or ARCA or even, you know, a guy like Stuart Friesen who's made his way in the modified. Some of these guys come up an open wheel. When you get to the truck series, it's a whole different kind of challenge, isn't it?
Well, it is, and you know, I talked about Noah Gragson earlier, and you know, the mistakes that he made and the things that he's done with an experienced team. But that's what's supposed to happen in the truck series. You see Chris Eggleston here. He came through the K&N cars on the West Coast. You see Noah Gragson and Brandon Jones, and those guys all came through the East and West series, and we're in the ARCA series, and that's what you want to see. The trucks are the next step of the natural progression from the K&N and ARCA series, and you know, below that you still see a lot of these guys racing late models. Todd Gilliland, he's not far out of late models and went through, was almost the K&N East and West champion in the same year. So there's a lot to learn once you get here.
And this lead is really tightening up, and this is valuable experience. You talked about Eggleston. He's seeing stuff for the first time. These guys, though, have some laps under their belt. They've won races. They've contended for wins, and so they know how to get the job done. Look at this move. Wow. Norm Benning in the 6th truck was a bit of an issue for, it looked like Matt Crafton, and John Hunter Nemechek jumped on him.
That's for 8th, as Nemechek was a lap away from winning at Chicagoland Speedway a couple of weeks ago. Ran out of fuel on the last lap.
I tell you, there's got to be no more frustrating, disappointing feeling than not even thinking you were going to have an issue with fuel.
Yeah, he thought he was blowing up, right?
He'd come down the front straightaway for the last lap, take the white flag with the lead, and have it all go away. Nothing like heading back to victory lane to put that memory behind you.
John. Mike, you know, as I look at these lap times, I see a 36, a 38, and a 37 for our first 3 trucks. So there you see our 3 leaders on the screen there. And I hate to keep harping on this, but I still like the way that Ben Rhodes late in the run. And as we run, these runs are going to get longer after this stage is over, and I think that's going to pay off for Ben.
Just 2 laps to go here in stage 2, so the pits are closed. Ben Rhodes showing the speed. I think he's faster than Brandon Jones, but because of this track and really how difficult it is to pass and narrow and the one groove, it's tough to get around him, even if you are faster.
And just think about the adjustments Rudy Fugle made. Remember, Rhodes was able to run down Gragson with about 10 to go in that first stage. Not this time, though. They've closed on him, but I think the adjustments have worked for that 18 truck. He's got heavy traffic ahead. See how this plays out, because Brandon Jones is there.
Final lap here in stage 2, and Brandon Jones heating up that back bumper of the 18 of Gragson. How much room is Noah going to get as he gets underneath Myatt Snyder? Negotiating the lap traffic successfully, and Noah Gragson will come across and win stage 2.
He played that like a champ, didn't he? Was able to make that move and grab the stage win. That's the 7th of the year, I think. What a great season for Noah.
Season best, 7th here in the Truck Series for the 18 of Noah Gragson. It's got to please the boss, Kyle Busch.
Oh man, that's never good when the owner's got the pin out.
He's taking, you know that from experience, don't you?
Owner's got the pin out. You know that he's taking notes for a reason. Something's going to change on Monday.
We barely won that stage.
2 stages in the books. Noah Gragson, the stage 2 winner at Kentucky. Great look at the stage 2 winner, Noah Gragson. Stage winner for the 7th time this season, and you see the points earned through the first 2 stages tonight. It's tied at the top with Gragson and Rhodes, and very important for Ben Rhodes as he sits on the playoff bubble. Coming down pit road, and Hermie Sadler's there waiting on him.
Brandon Jones, he likes his truck in turns 1 and 2. He is too tight in turns 3 and 4. They're going to put 4 tires on this time and fuel for Brandon Jones. Caitlin.
Looking at Ben Rhodes, stage 1 winner in the middle of your screen. He told his team, I'm a little bit tight. I don't have the lateral grip that I had before. They're going to go ahead and make an air pressure adjustment to the 41 fuel and go ahead and give him 4 tires. Also looking at Noah Gragson at the bottom of your screen. He said he had a slight right front vibration. You can see a chassis adjustment there as well for him. He says, I need to be better in 3 and 4. Go ahead and make it 4 tires as well for the 18.
Some of these teams putting on 4 to put themselves in position to take just 2 on that final stop in the middle of stage 3.
Look like issues for the 18 of Noah Gragson on pit road there. Also a slow stop from Ben Rhodes. Let's see if we can see what goes wrong here. What was that?
That looked like a wheel spacer.
Yeah.
Looked like they put a wheel spacer on the right front.
That was pretty slick, wasn't it?
That was
in there.
That was a great toss and a great catch.
That's an interesting adjustment at this point in the race. I wonder if Rudy saw something on the tire he took off on the first stop that concerned him.
Usually what happens, I don't know this or what's going on, but usually you put a wheel spacer on after you have a loose wheel.
Well, just a little pitch and catch going on pit road. How about that? Final stage from Kentucky when we return.
Welcome back to NASCAR Truck Racing from Kentucky with Rudy Fugle calling the shots for Noah Gragson. We saw the wheel spacer there. Explain to us what was going on with the truck for Noah.
Yeah, he had felt a vibration right away, and the tire changer thought he had it tight, but had a couple lug nuts loose. So when he got over there, he saw space on 3 of the lug nuts, so we knew we didn't want to have no problem. So we put the wheel spacer on so that it would space out and get on fresh threads, because it's riding on the threads, and the threads are tore up, so you wouldn't ever get them tightened back up. So had to do that, and it should be good now.
Thank you.
And the green's waving, and the final stage is underway with Parker Kligerman, who took the 2 tires and got out in front of everybody else on pit road. That's Parker on the outside, battling Stuart Friesen for the lead here at Kentucky. Look at that, trying to get into a narrow turn 3.
Oh, and he gets loose down there as well. Luckily, room for Todd Gilliland to move up, but really a narrow entry to that flat 3rd turn and nearly cost him. Was that Gragson sideways?
Big wiggle. So Kligerman survives the restart, has the lead with Friesen second, and the 16 of Brett Moffitt, a 3-time winner this season, sitting in 3rd. And here comes Justin Haley in the 24. Ben Rhodes has a good look at it.
Yeah, I don't want that look so much, Kevin. Up on the high side in turns 3 and 4. You can make it work down in 1 and 2, but it's touch and go in 3 and 4.
And I tell you what, Mike, we've seen a lot of loose trucks on this restart, and I don't know if that's from the adjustments, the 4 tires, or just that the track is getting cool.
Yeah, a lot of people, the crew chiefs will tell you they think when it cools down, you might think you might get tighter, but it just helps those front tires stick to the road better, which means the back is going to be loose, and we see a lot of that right now. Plus, the intensity continues to ratchet up lap after lap. These guys know they can't be giving up spots as we race toward the checker.
Now this final stage, 80 laps in length. Obviously they can't go the distance, about 50 to 55 laps, so we'll have another pit stop at least here in this final stage, but they need one more to get to the end. There's the leader, Parker Kligerman in the 75 with Stuart Friesen right behind him. Kligerman season best 7th place finish.
Oh,
how about that?
Barely.
Got another green scratch.
Barely into the outside wall, but that's a couple of times for Cody Coughlin. Usually you see a trend like that, it doesn't end up well.
Friesen took 4 tires on that pit stop, and Kligerman took 2, and Friesen is now on the move.
Kevin, did that line into one get your attention a bit?
Yeah, I felt like he was right on the edge of the gray right there, and I know he wants to lead right here, but I feel like he's in a really good position, and if he just wears Parker Kligerman down, he's going to get by him. It's just a matter of not making the big mistakes and being there when Kligerman makes the mistake. So Stuart Friesen obviously has a better and faster truck. He's just got to take care of it.
Is that patience one of the most difficult characteristics or qualities to acquire?
Well, and one thing I feel like, Vince, is Stuart has a dirt racing background, and you see that aggressive style. You see it out of Kyle Larson and Tony Stewart and a lot of these guys, Christopher Bell, especially when they first start and haven't won a race, and they're just aggressive and they want to make it happen right now. And I feel like in these races, the races are longer and you have to be a little bit more patient, but that's how they were brought up racing. You got to go now because you're only going to race 25 or 30 laps.
That's right. And you know, oh, look how tight that is. Haley just rubbing on Brett Moffitt in that 16 truck. Can he make that work?
Moffitt, another one who took 2 tires on that last stop.
Look how sideways Jones was down in the middle of the turn. But you know, Vince, this is a 225 mile race. Stuart Friesen is used to racing 225 lap features on a Saturday night. You got to go from the word go. Learning to be able to pace yourself is very difficult for these guys.
Justin Haley still working on the 16 of Moffitt, but unable to pass him for 3rd.
Aggressive move by Crafton into turn 3.
Hermie?
Watching Justin Haley on the racetrack, especially working underneath that 16 of Moffitt as we have a battle for the lead. Stuart Friesen finally getting position on the bottom. Remember, he's got 4 tires. The 75 has 2 tires, and you can tell he wants to lead right now, but a great battle for the lead.
Friesen has been working on Kligerman, working on him, but Parker's not giving it up, staying true on the outside, and saw on those hands, you could see him through the front windshield.
It just becomes so difficult for the 52 of Stuart Friesen right there when he's underneath the 75 truck like that, and the closer they get, the looser that inside truck gets. So you can see the truck wiggle right there, and he's got to be patient here, Michael, because his truck is way faster.
You can see how hard Kligerman, and I think down into turn 3, Kevin, it might have surprised Stuart Friesen that Parker Kligerman was able to fly in on the outside and make it work. We haven't seen that tonight. Again, you're just going to try harder and harder and get more and more aggressive as these laps wind down. I think Kligerman realizes that if he gets passed by Friesen, they're lined up behind Friesen there after 4 or 5 truck lengths back, and it could just go from bad to worse for him.
Friesen has collected himself again and now is bringing that momentum right back to the tailgate of Kligerman.
I do love the way Friesen drives, though. I love the fact that he's aggressive, and it's just a matter of fine-tuning that, and it's always easier to pull the reins back a little bit on somebody than it is to try to push them forward and make them more aggressive.
But we all know that it's Keelan Harvick's second favorite driver.
Ice Friesen.
Ice Friesen up there battling for the lead. I know Keelan's got a big smile on his face.
The 41 and the 51, Ben Rhodes and Brandon Jones side by side with the 98 of Grant Enfinger keeping an eye on him. And here comes Friesen again on the inside of Kligerman, going to try for the lead another time. That's side by side once before, but Kligerman fought back on the outside. He's trying to do it again, but Friesen finally gets by and closes the door. Stuart Friesen, the leader.
That's good racing on this tough 1.5 mile track. A couple of guys really showing how much they want to lead this race.
Crafton continues to show some speed, but hasn't cracked the top 5, but he is just spent so much of the night right there inside the top 10 after starting 30th. He ran his way up inside the top 10, but just hasn't been able to move any further up, closer to the lead. That's the man who's in possession of it. Stuart Friesen looking for his first Truck Series victory.
Being a kid is all about freedom. The freedom to play. Freedom of new experiences. And the freedom for all kids under 12 to get into any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race for free. It's good to be a kid.
Bring any kid under 12 to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, and they get in free. Visit NASCAR.com/KidsTix to learn more.
All week we work. We clock in, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. And when Friday comes, we all get to raise
When they take the green, there will be 10 to go.
a little hell.
Introducing the new 2018 Ford F-150 with best-in-class towing, best-in-class payload, and best-in-class torque. The F-150 lineup has the capability to get big things to big places big time. And things just got bigger. F-150 is now Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Section PU 402, row 41.
Jimmy Johnson, the fastest gun in the West.
Section 104, row 4.
Blaney out of the first win.
Section 25, row 3.
What a year for Bubba.
Section O, row 25.
Keselowski's gonna win at Talladega.
Section 156, row 4.
Kurt Busch to the lead on the backstretch.
Section 233, row 1.
Martin Truex Jr. wins.
You get a seat, but we doubt you'll ever use it. Grab your seats at NASCAR.com/tickets today.
You've been watching it all and probably holding your breath as we have seen some of these close calls back at Kentucky Speedway, along with Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick. I'm Vince Welch, and Stuart Friesen is the leader, but it has been tight back in the pack, that's for sure. Friesen bidding for his first career win in the Truck Series. Ben Rhodes there in that 41, the Kentucky native. He's led 11 laps tonight. And there's the 24 of Justin Haley, a little bit of contact with the 4 of Gilliland.
It's been an adventurous 2 or 3 laps for that 24 truck. He was out of the groove down in turn 1 when we were at break, and then there he just was sideways on the straightaway. I just can't see how he's going to hang on to that truck.
He's been loose all night, Michael. They had it better on the short run. Just a couple laps ago, he was inside the top 5, but on the bottom of the racetrack doing a great job hanging on to it. But the longer he runs and this track is cooling off, the 24, as you can see, is getting looser and looser.
The track temperature changing as nighttime comes, and that impacts the track. If you're tighter, do you get tighter? And if you're looser, you get looser? I mean,
I was sorry, Vince. I was watching Ben Rhodes hit that drain on the apron of the racetrack there. You saw it a couple times in qualifying. But this is a racetrack, and I remember from when we owned the trucks, I know it's been repaved, but this was always a racetrack you had to tighten up more to make your truck keep handling through the night. There's a drain down here, Mike, and we saw it in qualifying. Oh man, that's jarring.
Whew. And he made it work. He's second now. And by the way, when he bounced across that drain and took that position, he was the fastest truck on the track that lap.
The crank may be rubbing the oil pan from the dent that it has in it from that drain, but yeah, that's a violent hit. And when you're racing, you forget that thing's down there, and it's definitely hard on the vehicle.
Don't you love our truckers? They just go for it, baby. NASCAR on a Thursday night here on FS1. This is good stuff. Kligerman, like I said, when he started to fall, I think he's going to fall hard with these guys getting putting him in the dirtier air and getting to the inside of him.
But Michael, I really think the net gain from where he was running, you see there's a little gap after this truck. If he just lets him go right here and tries to maintain that gap behind him.
Josh Rayom getting loose in the 33, maybe a little bit of contact with the 6 of Norm Benning.
Those two trucks have struggled to stay low on the track, and when they got together, it was a real struggle.
So are you saying, Kevin, you think that gamble, the 2 tires on the pit stop, was worth it because of the positions gained, even though he's losing some now?
Well, we'll have to see what happens when he pits, but the net gain could be a positive for him. Man,
Look
that
how
was close.
close that was
for the leader.
Friesen barely slipping by on the outside. And it was another net gain, too. His sponsors got on, he led the race. You know, Parker Kligerman was wheeling that thing out front. Food Country USA and Tide Pods is on that truck. It's just a win for everybody when you put yourself in a position to lead the race.
Yeah. Kligerman came to pit road 14th and took those 2 tires and enabled him to lead 12 laps of this race, and Parker still sits in the 6th position.
Yeah, so I mean, anything better than 14th, it's by the time he pits next time is a gain from the gamble that they took. And if they pit under green, depending upon when all this shakes out, they'll probably put 4 on.
And we're in the pit window here with 50 to go.
And what do you do if you're Rudy Fugle with this 18 truck? He finished 2nd in the first stage. He won the 2nd. When that truck was out front, he had the truck to beat. They had to make that adjustment with the wheel spacer. He has not gone anywhere, Kevin. Restarted 13th. He's currently 10th and just lost a spot.
Well, we saw
John
his
Hunter.
biggest struggle was when he caught the lap trucks, and now he's in trucks that are relatively the same speed as him, and he's not been able to go anywhere. So I think that truck is on the tight side and struggles in traffic, and he's kind of just fell into where he's running.
And you watch Rudy Fugle. This could be the time where Rudy says, if we're going to win this race, we're going to have to do something different on strategy than the rest. Maybe he pits earlier than the rest, tries to get some speed on those new tires, and have it gain in the end.
And you could really hear it right there on his in-car camera. You could hear that. You could see that he was up a half a groove or a groove, and you could hear him just have to wait on the throttle.
The 4 of Todd Gilliland running back there in the 12th spot. Haven't talked much about Todd tonight. Hasn't been up there challenging the way we're accustomed to. But bringing it to the finish and getting a good finish. Got a long way to go yet. 47 laps. Gaining that experience so valuable for the 18-year-old Gilliland. Caitlin, how about the 16 of Brett Moffitt?
Well, Vince, they are one of the teams who elected to do 2 tires, rights only on that last stop and a wedge adjustment. And since then, Brett has just said it's been getting tighter and tighter. And we had a conversation today, big picture, about the season he's had. We've talked all year long how this team has had their share of struggles securing sponsorship. And he told me, you know, it's been hard to celebrate the victories, 3 of them to be exact, with the uncertainty of sponsorships as well. And I asked if there was anyone who's been kind of helping him through these trials and tribulations. He said his father, Dick Moffitt, who never misses a race, he says has been his biggest supporter. You see him there at the pit box. He said he's with me every single weekend. He's been the biggest supporting force right now in my career, guys.
Well, it's been a terrific season for Moffitt. Had a drink of water in the Cup Series, and he has certainly shown his ability to not just drive it, but to win races as well. 3-time winner this season.
Kevin, are you surprised of the lack of pace for Moffitt tonight? He's been so good everywhere we go, and it just doesn't seem like he can run the top 5 speeds. You see Noah Gragson here looking to the bottom of him, trying to take away that position.
Well, I would be surprised if we were anywhere but Kentucky, because I've been here before when our mile-and-a-half stuff is running really good, and it just takes a different setup to get around this racetrack. It's a different style and a different vision from the driver's compartment as to what you see going into turn 3, and it's a lot different than, you know, your typical mile-and-a-half racetrack to make the truck or car handle well.
It's interesting that you say that, because a couple of the guys in the big 3 here in the Truck Series are certainly having their troubles today. Talk about Johnny Sauter, he's in 11th. Noah Gregson's back in 9th. He was good early, but when he got caught in traffic, he just can't seem to negotiate this track like he was earlier.
Well, and you look at a guy like Matt Crafton through the years. I mean, he's been great on the mile-and-a-half racetracks. He's won a lot of races. He's won here, but this has just been a racetrack. When you look at the stats, they kind of stick out and say, they're just kind of mediocre for what Matt has done in his career.
You see Tate Fogelman going to the garage there on the right-hand side of the screen, the rookie driving for Young Motorsports. Hey, you talking about Crafton, and Matt himself admits it's been a love-hate relationship with Kentucky Speedway. There have been races here he's loved this place, and there have been races where he's hated it. I think he's probably somewhere in between tonight as he runs inside the top 10, but at the same time, just now getting in to the top 5 with about 40 plus to go.
Yeah, and for me in my Cup career, it's been a place that I've struggled at and haven't. It's one of 2 racetracks that I haven't won on, and you know, it's just a totally different mindset as far as what you need in the truck and what you're telling the crew and the things that you work on, and getting through 3 and 4 is such a key now that they put the banking in 1 and 2. Because that's always been the hardest corner on the racetrack.
It's important for Crafton to have a good solid finish tonight. His last 3 races, his average finish has been 19th, and it's caused him to slip down the playoff standings list and to where he currently sits 7th in the playoff standings. You see there on the left-hand side of the screen, Crafton 1 spot off the bubble.
What about our big 3? We talked about Johnny Sauter, Brett Moffitt, Noah Gragson, and we've documented their struggles. They're currently running 9th, 10th, and 11th. So certainly not reminiscent of what we've seen of those guys this year. And then that gives an opportunity for a guy like Matt Crafton to drive up to the front. He's running in 4th position. Told me today he really liked his truck and felt confident in what he had, and he's showing that now.
Well, as much as we talk about his struggles and the things that he's had going on this year and struggling with this racetrack, not this last lap, but the 2 laps before that, he was the fastest truck on the racetrack. So veteran driver, veteran crew chief, long-standing team that's been in the sport, they're going to figure it out, and they're going to be in contention to win before it's all said and done.
Halfway through this final stage, remember, everybody still has to come to pit road for one more stop. They're not going to make it to the end on fuel, so they're going to have to come get fuel, and we presume 2 tires for most of these guys. Certainly the guys that came in took 4 on the last stop, but if we continue to run under green, how long do you wait?
Somebody's going to pull the trigger quickly. I think you'll come in, get gas, get tires, and try to gain some track position. If you do what the leaders do, you're going to follow the leaders, and Stuart Friesen has a nice cushion right now. That team will probably ride it out, stay on the racetrack so that they're not the first to pit. But if you're down around where John Hunter Nemechek is, a truck that started in the back and has been able to race his way to the top 10 but not crack the top 5, I think you got to take a shot at it. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, and that's why John Hunter's here. I mean, they're here to win races. They're here to put themselves in position, and I think you might see some other guys follow. You know, obviously Stuart Friesen, you know, he's got one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack, and the thing I like about him from the first 2 pit stops is his pit crew did a really good job, and they gained track position and maintained what they had. So that to me is comforting. But the tricky thing about a green flag pit stop is getting to pit road. How many of these guys practice getting onto pit road in practice, and who can gain or lose the most time getting onto pit road if they do pit under green?
A mistake on this pit stop will cost you any chance at winning the race.
Well, and we see it week after week after week, not just in the Truck Series, but in Xfinity and Cup as well, where a pit stop miscue ends up determining the outcome of the race. Stuart Friesen has never won a Truck Series event. Tonight may be his night. .30 to go at Kentucky Speedway. Still a pit stop yet to come. And Stuart Friesen is closing in on possibly his first career win.
Do you stretch it out as far as you can go, Kevin, and just put a splash of gas in it, not even get tires? Are these some of the decisions those crew chiefs are on the box now trying to make?
Well, I think Friesen I think he's in a position to wait and see.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's as close as the lap times are. I don't think you're going to lose a lot of ground if you don't put new tires on. So it's going to come down to getting on pit road, making a pit stop, seeing if you have to do 2 or 4 tires and go from there. But he's sitting in the catbird seat, I think.
Remember, we go 50 to 55 on a tank of fuel. We went green with this final stage here with 74 to go. So as you see Dalton Sargent, the first to come to pit road, we're in that window for sure, and it's time.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit concerned with the oil pressure on this 52 truck, or excuse me, 41 truck of Ben Rhodes. When it goes in the corner, you see the red light flash where that gauge is, like maybe it's down on pressure a little bit. His hand's in the way there, but when he comes off the corner, it's been flashing back to red. See, got a lot of pressure there, but then it falls over to the left. That's the first tail of an engine issue. You see it red there.
Yeah, when he moves his hand back over right here.
Our leader is coming to pit road. Stuart Friesen coming your way, Hermie.
Gives up the lead to come to pit road on lap 123. Friesen said he liked the balance when he put 2 tires on last time, so it'll be 2 right side tires only in fuel. He stalls the truck on pit road. That'll hurt him a little bit.
Just the kind of things we were talking about. You want to be smooth and flawless on these green flag stops. Here comes Noah Gragson. Let's see what he does. Caitlin is there.
Yeah, well, he was just telling his team over the radio that he feels like this 18 truck is really tight on entry. Now, we saw him that last pit stop where he had a longer stop for that wheel spacer to go in for a right front vibration. So he is down on pit road getting the right side service. You see the tires going on there. Hermie.
51 of Brandon Jones. His truck is tight center off, but free on entry. They're going to try to adjust that. You saw the chassis adjustment. 2 right side tires only for the 51. Caitlin.
You see the 88 of Matt Crafton. He was just telling the team he's too loose into turn 3. It's just unreal. Put on right sides only for Matt Crafton. You also see the 41 coming down to pit road as well. Ben Rhodes, he was our stage 1 winner. He just said, I am too tight right now. He's the hometown guy, would love to get a win here at Kentucky Speedway. The call they made earlier across the radio was for 2 tires. You see a chassis adjustment there. It looks like no tires for the 41.
And the 98 of Grant Enfinger on as well. He's taken right sides, as almost all the others have. Right sides and fuel. Ben Rhodes, the only one we've seen that has gone the no tire route, Hermie.
24 truck has been really loose. It's 2 right side tires and a wedge adjustment for Justin Haley.
Well, we're seeing a lot of chassis adjustments on these last stops. These guys aren't happy with the way their trucks are handling. Let's see what Johnny Sauter does. Is his adjustment going to be enough to maybe get him his 5th win of the season? Caitlin.
Yeah, Vince, well, earlier he said, I'm just loose in, tight off as well. You can see the chassis adjustment there. It looks like they're just fueling up, no tires. And Todd Gillen also in right now. It looks like they're also going to go ahead and elect for a 2-tire stop only for Todd Gillen.
These are the decisions that have been brewing, Kevin. These crew chiefs are all trying to figure out the fastest way to get to the checker flag of this race. Friesen, that's a gamble I think that Friesen truck took by coming to pit road first, but it worked out for him. He's got fresh tires on, and the only ones ahead of him did not get tires.
Well, and a big penalty for Johnny Sauter, too fast entering. So Sauter, who just came to the pit road, is going to have to come again.
Well, the other interesting thing is Ben Rhodes is leading. He took no tires and gas only to try to get that track position. But when you look at the distance between first and second, it's going to come down to the stalling of that engine is basically going to be what flipped those 2 positions on pit road.
Yeah, Friesen stalled it as he was trying to take off, and the 75 of Parker Kligerman, who led this race for 16 laps, or for 12 laps today. Some pretty significant damage there in the rear.
Must have nudged up against the outside wall and knocked the back of the truck off.
Moffitt back on pit road. Here's why. Let's take a look.
There's no tire. The tire changer is waiting and waiting. I don't know what that had to do with the return. Oh, big fire as well. Might not have got any fuel in it.
Well, we've seen so many times that these races can be won or lost on pit road. We've seen so many times that a pit call from the crew chief can change it, or a mistake from the driver, or whatever it may be. But you know, I think as you look at first and second here, that all happened because of a pit call and a mistake, and it's going to come down to the 52 just having to have a faster truck in order to get by the 41.
Camping World 20 to go at Kentucky Speedway. The Louisville native, Ben Rhodes, trying to win at his home track. He's out front. Didn't take any fresh tires on that last pit stop, just fuel. He's being chased by the 52 of Stuart Friesen, who took right side tires, and Friesen seeking his first career win. It'd be big tonight for either one of those guys.
You got that right, Vince. To win in front of your hometown crowd for Ben Rhodes or Stuart Friesen. He's won some huge dirt races up in Canada and all up and down the East Coast in his dirt modified racer, but getting to victory lane in a NASCAR Camping World truck would be the cornerstone of his future to be able to build on.
And what you said it best. He's raced, and a lot of these guys have raced to get to this point and won. And knowing how to win is something that is hard to teach people. Stuart Friesen knows how to win. Ben Rhodes knows how to win, and that's usually how you get to this point, is you're successful at the lower levels. But putting that pressure on yourself to go out and win and perform, and this isn't dirt, this is asphalt, and he's right there on the brink of making it happen, and tonight could be the night.
And when he gets there, how will he handle it? I mean, this is going to be the biggest pass in his career if he's able to take the lead away from Ben Rhodes, and he's faster, closing right in on the back bumper. But when they get side by side, can he keep that truck pointing in the right direction? And like you said, can he remain calm under fire and grab this victory?
You saw Johnny Sauter come back through a second time. That was for a commitment line violation. So Sauter, who has finished top 10 in 22 consecutive races on the 1.5 mile track, now finds himself back in 17th, 2 laps down.
So what you saw right there, Stuart Friesen got out of the groove in turn 2. Right now it's about minimizing mistakes. He knows he has a faster truck. He knows that he's probably going to get back to Ben Rhodes. He needs to minimize the mistakes at this point. If you want to give up a 10th or 2 by making a mistake on a lap time, that's okay. You just don't want to give up a half a second or a second. He's going to get back to him. He just got to minimize the chunks that he gives up on the mistakes.
How many crew chiefs and drivers at the Xfinity and Cup level are looking at this and evaluating the no tires versus the 2 tires as we think about the races tomorrow night and Saturday night?
I just love all the strategy, how these guys decided when to come to pit road. The fact that Ben Rhodes, Eddie Traconis and that team said, no tires are for us. We're going to get this thing to victory lane. And Ben's doing a great job, but you can just see the pace of the 52.
Oh, the 52 has just a ton of pace, and this is where it's really going to pay off right here. If Ben leaves this yellow line and leaves Friesen a chance to get up to him right there and get his nose down in the air and keep his truck turning through 3 and 4, that's going to be where the pass is made in my opinion.
And you know, Kevin, it's fairly easy when you got a faster truck to close into this point. But every truck length, every foot or 2, it gets closer, it gets harder and harder. You want to lose
see
the
him
nose.
Go up the racetrack right there. You see him, he got close like you were saying, and that air starts to go off the nose of the truck, and it just doesn't turn as good.
And the more aggressive Stuart tries to be, the more that'll multiply what issues he's having.
Especially at this track, Michael. You know, 1 and 2, you can kind of give up a little bit. These trucks are going to draft, and you can kind of ease in there to make sure you keep that truck on the bottom. But you got to be right there to strike in 3 and 4, because if the 41 misses the bottom of that corner in Ben Rhodes, Stuart Friesen needs to be there and not overdrive the entry. He needs to let off and make sure that truck is on the yellow line, because he's got a faster truck.
Friesen, a superstar in the big block modified world. He seems to go racing and winning every week when he's not at the NASCAR tracks, and he's undoubtedly one of the most famous big block modified racers in the country. But when it comes to NASCAR and the Truck Series, he has never won, and you better believe that this would be considered a huge step for him in his career if he can get a victory here tonight.
Heck, Vince, he's probably going to leave Kentucky here tonight and be racing a big block modified somewhere on Friday or Saturday night this weekend. So he loves the dirt. He's certainly a very talented racer, but this is tedious. He just has to try to gnaw away a couple of feet a corner. Don't try to get it all in one turn, and I know that's what he's trying to do right now.
Well, we're talking about how Friesen and what he's thinking about in regards to chasing down Ben Rhodes. What's Rhodes thinking about in trying to keep Friesen behind him?
Well, Rhodes can look in the mirror, and he sees those gaps open and close, and he knows that he's at a deficit right now. But he also knows that if he can keep that left front tire right on that yellow line, the closer that Friesen gets, the less chance that he's going to have to pass him. Lap traffic could be the key in this whole thing to making up that whole gap for Friesen, because if you catch these guys in the wrong spot, and we've seen the 54 be tough to pass tonight, he lets the leaders go here, so that's a good move. But you see Friesen is right on him now.
Parker Kligerman again with on pit road after that rear end damage. Yeah, that lap traffic slowed up Rhodes just a little bit, and Friesen reduced that deficit from 4/10 to 2/10.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be key, Vince, how you catch those lappers. As Ben looks out his front windshield. I mean, he's just looking so far ahead to start making a plan. You can't just run up on a guy. You got to start making a plan. So Ben's looking out the windshield, looking for lappers, and then keeping one eye in the mirror to see what Friesen is doing back there.
10 laps to go. Hermie.
The dreaded words you want to hear, you don't want to hear your driver say as he's trying to chase down the leader. Stuart Friesen just said, the closer I get in 3 and 4, I pick up an aero push. So they're going to try to, he's going to have to try to get somewhere, as you guys have been discussing, get somewhere where the 41 is not. But that's the last comment from Friesen, aero push when I get close.
And Kevin, I would kind of like to see him start creeping up the hill in turns 1 and 2. We know Ben Rhodes is committed to the bottom. We've seen Stewart go way a little bit wider than the others down in 1 and 2. I think he's got to get out of the tire tracks of Ben Rhodes. Do you think that could pay off if he went a little higher?
Well, I think that's one option. I think the second option is quit driving it in the corner so far. When you get closer, you're going to have to let off and let the thing freewheel and use a little bit of partial throttle through the center of the corner to try to keep that left front headlight and in the air to make sure that it pushes. You saw him up the racetrack there again, coming off of turn 2, trying harder at this point. Entrance and getting to the throttle sooner is only going to make the truck push worse. So he's got to do everything that he can to keep it on the bottom, but he keeps going up the hill on the exit, you know, as he's trying to make it happen.
6 laps remaining for Ben Rhodes from Louisville, Kentucky, about 60 miles away from here. It's his hometown track. And as Kevin said, even when he came with him, Ben was the star. I mean, this guy is so popular in this area. The media loves him. Ben, extremely accommodating. And it would be so important to this young man, 21 years old, to be able to win here at his home track in front of his fans and his family and friends at Kentucky.
Michael, I hope something is wrong with that gauge, because it keeps getting closer to the 0.
And it stays red more and more, and I'm feeling the same. And every time I ever thought I had a bad gauge, I was wrong. It was usually something going wrong with the engine. So that's got to be getting on Ben Rhodes' nerves. And think about this. He didn't put on tires. He's got that oil pressure gauge flashing. He's got Stuart Friesen pressing down on him, but yet he's just being steady and consistent every lap.
Yeah, but he's made that advantage go from about a half a second to more than a second now. So Rhodes has actually extended the lead with 4 laps remaining.
And that's been the strength of his truck all night. The longer the run goes, it seems like almost seems like it gets a little bit faster as the run goes on. But it's very surprising with the older tires and the things that they have that he's been able to maintain that. But he has definitely held on very well. It seems like Friesen could take off good, and once he had those couple tries at it, it seemed like his truck started to get tighter.
That was a great example of Ben Rhodes managing traffic. You saw him really roll off the throttle getting down into turn 3 while lapping the 3 truck of Jordan Anderson, but then he was able to scream off the turn low and make that pass and lost no time.
And that's what Friesen needs to be doing. He needs to be letting off a little bit early and just try to eat that line up in order to try something different.
You guys are talking about that flashing red gauge in the truck of Ben Rhodes. Remember Kansas last year, Rhodes was leading on his way to his first career win, less than 10 laps to go, and the motor let go, and he was just devastated. Came back later to win that season at Las Vegas, but it was heartbreaking for him that night. Now here he is with a couple of laps to go, trying to win in front of his hometown fans, and that red light just keeps blinking.
And he's a very emotional kid. I mean, we've seen it, you know, when he had the engine trouble at one of the races and lost the race, and he's an emotional guy, and I guarantee you these last two laps, there's a lot going on underneath that helmet.
The white flag waves for Ben Rhodes. The lead is more than a second.
What an awesome job this young man did on those older tires.
And a great call on pit road.
Eddie Traconis, the crew chief, on the final pit stop, chose fuel only, and it's going to help his driver, Ben Rhodes, win one he'll never forget. Rhodes wins at home in Kentucky. And just like that, Ben Rhodes clinches the spot in the playoffs.
That's awesome right there. You talked about the emotion of Ben Rhodes. Eddie Traconis is just like that. Just so passionate about racing these trucks, and to be able to deliver to Ben Rhodes a victory in his home state, it's got to be the best feeling in the world for Eddie.
Eddie Traconis used to work for me at KHI, and let me tell you something, that guy has a ton of passion about racing, and he loves winning.
This ought to be pretty epic.
Oh, this is going to be a great interview as well.
Maybe not every single fan in the stand was hoping that Ben Rhodes was winning, because everybody has their favorite driver. But I guarantee you the majority of them were pulling for the 41 tonight. The hometown kid does it.
Vince, I was in downtown Louisville this week, and the Alpha Energy Solutions trucks were all over the place. They've got a lot going on, and they help sponsor this team. And Caitlin, Eddie Traconis has to be the happiest man in Kentucky right now.
He absolutely is. The celebration's already underway. Eddie, you made the call for fuel only there on that last stop. It proved to be the right one. How rewarding is this for you?
Man, to be here at his hometown, you know, with his family, and we've been struggling with this truck. You know, it's the one we have the issue. But I'm so proud that we keep working this Ford F-150. I mean, great partnership, and I mean, I'm so proud of this kid tonight. And it was a bold move, but that's how you win, you know. You win with bold moves, and that's what we came here to show, that we're going to win this championship. And this kid has a lot of talent, and he's just, you know, thankful. And, you know, I just want to say thank to God, and also say hi to my mother-in-law, Connie, that she's watching TV. I love her.
You talk about the ups and downs for this team so far this year, but what can you say about the resiliency of both your team and your driver?
I mean, it just, you know, there's the up and downs, you know, and we have a great communication. My whole crew is just amazing. You know, my 5 guys and my truck driver, everybody at the shop, I mean, we work together. We're on the ups and downs together. We lift up, and sometimes we just give us a hard time. You know, frustration was getting close to us, but we just keep our head down and keep digging, and that's what we're here to do.
Congratulations, Ben Rhodes, 41 team here, the winner in Kentucky, guys.
You know what I love about that, Vince? He's happy that he was able to deliver it to Ben Rhodes. I mean, he's such a selfless person. It's all about the team, and you saw it in that interview. That's awesome.
Traconis mentioned, of course, the Ford 150, and there's a huge Ford truck plant in Louisville, more than 6 million square foot, and they visited the plant this week, and how happy those workers must be to see their driver in their truck win tonight in their town. Look at that, 7,900 plus employees, opened back in 1969. It'll be a celebration. That's the first Ford win of the season, and it will be a celebrated one. Let's go downstairs to Hermie.
But good to see this 88 bunch back in the top 5. Strong run for your team. It just, nothing bad happened tonight, and you guys ended up with a 3rd place finish.
Just besides qualifying, put ourselves in a deficit.
Made you work for it.
Yeah, they did that, or I did that. Just got real loose qualifying, started 30th, drove to 6th on the first run, and all in all, I can't thank these guys enough. To be really, happy with the 3rd place is the season we've had so far, and congratulations to my teammate. This Menard Ford F-150 was pretty good. We just needed a little bit of track position. I know we could have ran with those guys at the end if we would have had just that little bit more.
What does this mean for this team? You guys have been around so long. I know you don't come to the racetrack to finish 3rd, but what kind of momentum could this build for you guys through the summertime?
Oh, it's going to be huge. We need this right now. We need it right before the playoffs. We need as many playoff points as we can possibly get to get ourselves into the playoffs. There's so many people that's won, and we've had such a bad season and dug ourselves such a bad, big hole. So we just got to go to Eldora and put on a show there and go to Pocono, and just can't have any mistakes now.
Matt Crafton going to Eldora, where he won last year, Vince.
And that'll be next week. But first, how about that? You don't think it feels good? You don't think there's some love between those two, crew chief and driver?
That's a beautiful thing.
Teammates.
Well, and what a great night for ThorSport. You know, we talked so much about Matt Crafton and his struggles, and how fast the 41 has been and his struggles that he's had all night. To see the emotion out of this kid is really awesome, and what a great night.
A night he will never forget. The lights are on, and they are shining on Ben Rhodes, the winner tonight here at Kentucky Speedway. He outdueled Stuart Friesen, held Friesen off to win it, and Hermes with the runner-up.
Yeah, Vince and the 52 team put up a battle tonight. You were out front. It came down to pit strategy, and you mentioned yourself, time getting off and on pit road, another step in what you're learning to do with these trucks at these kind of racetracks.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I thank the GMS team, our Helmar Friesen team, and Helmar and Chris Larson, everybody behind us. These guys worked their butt off today. We had an engine problem, and during time trials, the whole team stepped in. Everybody from the 2, the 21, 25, 24, all those guys. It was awesome. They thrashed. We only had less than an hour to swap everything out. They did a great job, and we had a good finish. We led some laps, but I just didn't get off and probably gave up a little bit getting on pit road there at the end, and it was a difference of 100 yards and a bunch of clean air. So proud of my guys, and just made a little mistake there, and that cost us.
Ultimately, what did you need to have an opportunity to get up and get by the 41?
For whatever reason, I don't know if it just beat our left front up on that long run. It just got real tight, even to 1 and 2, and then down to 3 and 4 is the hard turn to navigate. So I was tight down there, and I don't know if Clean Air, we would have held him off. He looked like he was pretty neutral, and congrats to Ben and Eddie and those guys. Great bunch of guys. We'll come back. Pretty excited for Eldora, obviously, next week. And but dang, want to get one of these ones on these pavement tracks, but we'll keep working at it.
Stuart Friesen, big-time effort tonight. He comes home second.
Yeah, and he dominated at Eldora last year before finishing second, so maybe next week will be his night. It was in Las Vegas last year when Ben Rhodes got that great restart late in the race, went from the second row to the lead, and took it to the house to score his first career win. 16 races later, he did it again. But tonight, in front of the hometown fans, Ben Rhodes burning it down at home in Kentucky. Caitlin?
Well, it is a big celebration down here for Ben Rhodes and his hometown victory here in Kentucky. Ben, we talked before the race about how special this one would be if you were able to win it in front of the hometown crowd. How great is this moment?
I still don't have any words. This is amazing. Dream come true, and this has been such a long time coming. These guys deserve this so much. They've been working their butts off, and I mean, we've been having such bad luck this year, and it's so special. We have Officer Nick Rodman on the truck. This race is a tribute to him, and everybody was feeling good about it tonight. And I mean, we've had trucks like this all year long, but finally we can showcase it, and I'm just so thrilled for my team. This is exactly what we needed.
How do you feel like from the adjustments on pit road to the calls to you as the driver, everything was just executed flawlessly?
Executed flawlessly, but I mean, I was really worried. We came in with the pit stall on fire in front of us. I almost missed my stall with all the smoke coming out. But man, huge thank you to Ford Performance, Thor Sport Racing, Carolina Nut Company, Alpha Energy Solutions. I mean, they've just been behind us 100%. And this is our first win with Ford this year for Thor Sport. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Congratulations. Big moment here for Ben Rhodes in his hometown, Vince.
Well, and here's what he's talking about, that fire in pit lane just in front or just behind, depending on your perspective, of his pit box. Had to have been distracting for him to try to get in.
Very distracting, but those guys, I mean, they rallied through. Eddie made a great pit call. Ben did a flawless job at the end of the race, and I want to go back to Stuart Friesen as well. He's going to win. They have fast trucks. He's obviously a very quick learner, and he knows what he did wrong tonight on pit road, and he's going to practice that and do that better next time.
And you talk about minimizing mistakes, and that's one we haven't seen from him yet. Sometimes you got to go through a lot in order to get to victory, and you have to learn a lot. Just think how close. We talked earlier about how close Ben Rhodes was to winning at Kansas last year and had that engine go away. So there's going to be ups and downs, but when you have the talent behind the wheel that Stuart Friesen has, victory lane is just a week or two away.
Another young man with talent, already a winner this season, John Hunter Nemechek. He finished 5th, Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, John Hunter's got a win. Could be 3 or 4 wins. I know you're tired of talking about that, but even a night like tonight, maybe didn't have the fastest truck, but you guys battled and fought and clawed your way to a top 5 finish. What is it about this team that enables you guys to continue to accomplish what you do, and given, in the big scheme of things, limited resources?
Never give up. We continue to work hard week in, week out, and I think it definitely shows. Like you've said, we've been close 4 or 5 times to winning races this year, and still stings when you look back on it, but you have to put it in the past, take all the learning and all the information that you learned throughout those races and put it in your memory bank for more. But had motor issues starting first practice, had motor issues in qualifying. Got it all fixed for the race, started at the back and drove back to the top 5. So successful night for our DAB constructors, Chevy Silverado. Learned a lot of how to pass and how to manage the air. So hopefully that comes into use tomorrow night in the Xfinity race.
What were you guys fighting tonight, and did the track do what you thought it was going to do as it cooled off tonight?
I thought it was going to get freer than it actually did. Normally when we've run here, it's gotten free. The track widened out quite a bit from where it was in practice. I think that they're going to use the Tire Dragon again tonight to widen it out even more, but we just fought tight all night. We just never got on the other side of it, and it goes back to making adjustments, and we didn't go enough.
John Hunter Nemechek, he's 5th tonight.
Always a contender, and tonight was no different. But the night belongs to 21-year-old Ben Rhodes, the Kentucky kid, the winner at home. What a great sports weekend. On Sunday on Fox, Pogba and Mbappe. France against Croatia. Luka Modric in the FIFA World Cup final. Coverage Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're streaming live on the Fox Sports app. Pogba, the Man U star, has helped lead France to the World Cup final. What a thriller that's going to be. Has Keelan started playing soccer yet, Kevin?
No, he hasn't played soccer. We're in the middle of baseball and basketball, so, you know, and golf. Got to play golf every once in a while, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's right. Just every now and then. It's a beautiful Crosley jukebox that Ben Rhodes is going to walk out of there with. Bo LeMastus just presented it to him on behalf of Crosley. That's quite a trophy.
What a cool trophy.
Yeah.
Well, Noah Gragson started from the pole tonight, won stage 2, and finished 8th. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, if you ever need a reminder of how important track position is, Noah Gragson and his team exemplified that tonight. Your race came down to an extended stay on pit road tonight. Walk us through what happened during this pit stop and what feedback you gave them from the driver's compartment that led them in that direction.
Yeah, well, the first pit stop, we didn't get all the lug nuts on, so we had a loose wheel. So second round we came in, second stage, and we had to put that spacer on because the studs were oblong and made the wheel oblong because they were it was loose. So just a bummer, one of those deals. Nothing we could do. Just got to keep on working hard, keep on striving to get better. Got the pole, fast in practice, got a stage win. Just got to keep plugging away, go to Eldora next week. I don't know how I'm going to do there. It's tough. That place is so tough. You could either run last, you could run first. I don't know. I'm not a dirt ringer, so I don't know. Just strategy didn't play out for our Safe Flat Out of Glass Toyota Tundra, but ready to go get dirty next weekend.
And he mentioned getting dirty. Eldora is next Wednesday night. We all look forward to the battle on the dirt. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, for Todd Gilliland's first time here in a truck, he ended up with a top 10 performance. But what more did you feel like you needed there out of your truck?
I don't know, man. These things are very sensitive. I feel like all the KBM trucks are good, but I guess it's just something with all the new rules this season, the new motor, new splitter. It's just everyone's working super hard. That showed getting the front row tonight with Noah and myself qualifying second. So. Come home 7th, not where we wanted, but you just got to take away the positives. And, we came away with a clean truck, so that's something I haven't been doing the last few weeks. So, just trying to get my team back ahead and, working together better and better every week.
Yeah, as we look towards next week, Eldora racing in the dirt, what's kind of your expectation for that event?
I'm hoping to have a lot of fun, if nothing. So, just go out there, try and keep it off the wall best we can, and maybe the last 5 laps just hold it wide open or something. But I don't have any dirt experience, but like I said, we just got to go out there open-minded.
Nice job, Todd Gilliland, leaving Kentucky with a top 10 performance, guys.
Well, we were thinking that Gilliland could get a win this season and get into the playoffs, but he's running out of time. Gilliland needs to get a victory. He's not going to make it in on points, but if he would win, even though he missed 4 races earlier this season because he wasn't 18 years of age, he'd still make the playoffs. And as you see our playoff picture now, Matt Crafton on the bubble in that 8th spot. Plenty good points-wise, 79 points to the good. But if a Todd Gilliland would happen to win one of these remaining races before the playoffs, Crafton would find himself on the outside looking in. That's almost hard to fathom.
I never thought we'd be saying that this far into the 2018 season, but Dalton Sargent is a guy you better keep your eye on, just continuing to get better and better week in and week out. We know Cody Coughlin struggled tonight. You mentioned Todd Gilliland. There's a lot of guys that could work their way to victory lane, and that would put Matt Crafton in a real bind.
Well, in the next 4 races before the playoffs look like this. Of course, we go to Eldora next week, where Crafton, by the way, is the defending winner.
Yeah, and I think as you look at the next race at Pocono, you go from Eldora to Pocono. Those couldn't be more opposite of types of racetracks. And then you go to Michigan, which is a little bit more like Pocono, I guess you could say, than Eldora.
And then the mighty Bristol, where these guys will have to roll up their sleeves and really get with it to tame that track. And Kevin, you're going to be there with us, watching all the action in Bristol.
Yeah, we moved that race to Thursday night, so that'll be fun to have to be back with you guys for the broadcast at Bristol. And I go back to Todd Gilliland. We talked so much about Eldora, and you heard him talk about not really being on the dirt and excited and didn't really know what to expect. The cool thing is they added a K&N race this year. For the West Series, K&N West Series will run on the dirt Thursday night while we're in Las Vegas. So those guys will get in that series get a little more experience in the dirt. So I can't wait for Eldora.
I can't either.
That is going to be a lot of fun, and it's a weeknight race next week. But we're not done yet. Still heating it up in Kentucky. Hey, it's more weeknight racing for the trucks next week at Eldora. One of the most enjoyable events of the year, and I'll tell you what, if you've never watched it, you're not going to want to miss it, because it is fun for those in attendance, those driving it, and us getting a chance to broadcast it.
Yeah, I went last year for the first time and watched the trucks race and called the race with you guys up in the booth, and I can tell you it was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had, just watching a race and being a part of a race weekend. And the one thing I can tell you fans sitting out there, if you've never been to Eldora, I guess the one stereotype that they talk about is it's always sold out. It's never sold out. Just show up. You can sit on the hill. You can always go watch the race in Eldora.
It's a busy Wednesday next week with the qualifying races. And, of course, race day at 8:30, and then the Eldora Dirt Derby Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Of course, they got the Kings Royal at Eldora this weekend, which is a huge event. Of course, Tony Stewart owns the facility there, and they have a couple of big ones back-to-back with the Kings Royal and the NASCAR trucks at Eldora. Looking forward to that next Wednesday. Let's go back downstairs, check in with Hermie.
Well, Vince Grant Enfinger was 6th tonight. You guys have been trending in the right direction. Another solid effort for your team. How did your night unfold tonight?
Exactly like you said, it was a solid night for our Curb Records Ford F-150. We actually had good short run speed, tailed off a little bit, 20, 25 laps into a tire run. We just get tight and chatter the tires, but a great night for Thor Sport Racing. Congratulations to Eddie and the guys on the 41. They did great. Matt had a good run too, so just a great night for Thor Sport Racing, and we got 4 more to the cutoff.
Eldora coming up next. What is your expectation heading to race on the dirt?
I'm still a little inexperienced as far as that kind of stuff goes, but that was my most fun race last year. I got to learn to run the top a little bit better, but it was a solid race for us last year. Need a little bit more to actually contend.
Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, Dalton Sargent earns his 3rd top 10 performance so far this year. Dalton, how would you summarize your night here in Kentucky Speedway?
Yeah, we had a decent run. We ran inside the top 10 all night, so that was really good. Hats off to the guys at GMS Racing, working really hard each and every week. Had to bounce back from some struggles over the past couple weeks, but I feel like we're getting better each and every week, bringing a really fast Performance Plus motor oil Chevy to the racetrack every week, so that's a good benefit.
Nicely done. Dalton Sargent leaving Kentucky with a top 10. Vince?
Kevin, what do you think's most important for a young driver like Dalton, a rookie in the series? What's the most important for him to accomplish in his first year in this discipline?
Well, the first thing is finish races. That's the way you get the most experience, is to run the most laps. Put yourself in a position to where you're running in traffic, you're getting on pit road under green, and you're around in the race for all those types of moments. Because in the end, as you get closer to the front, the guys at the front usually cover the details pretty good. So getting onto pit road, getting into your pit box, running pit road speed right up to that max, and doing all the small things right, that's really what you want to try to learn the first year and accomplish and know the routine that you need to go through going forward. It's not so much about how fast you can drive the truck or what's right and what's wrong. It's do the details of the small things right first.
It is a stepping stone series, that's for sure, but it's also one in which you enjoy to the fullest.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey. It's great to have a Busch sponsor because that's made our time up here tonight much more enjoyable. Back at Kentucky Speedway, they're repainting the wall, so guys got into it a little bit. Messed up the paint job. Ben Rhodes, the Kentucky kid, wins tonight and becomes just the second driver from the state of Kentucky to ever win a Truck Series race. That other driver would be Michael Waltrip.
Michael Waltrip?
Yeah, I did win a truck race. I forgot.
Oh, man.
Memory from that?
Daytona. That's all you got to say. Any Victory Lane trip to Daytona is unlike any other.
Yeah, you've made that a few times. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, we're just a couple of days away from the World Cup final. It airs Sunday on Fox. And coming up next, World Cup tonight, we'll have a preview of the final. It's France versus Croatia. And here's more now from Moscow with Kate Abdo and Fernando Fiore.